So today I'm going to read some more poems, story poems from Old Possum's book of Practical Cats by TS Eliot. And we've got The Old Gumbie Cat is the next one. I have a Gumbie cat in mind. Her name is Jenny Anydots. Her coat is of the tabby kind with tiger stripes and leopard spots. See a picture. Oops, showing the wrong picture. All day she sits upon the stair or on the steps or on the mat. She sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes her a Gumbie cat. But when the day's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumbie cat's work is but hardly begun. And when all the family's in bed and asleep, she slips down the stairs to the basement to creep. She is deeply concerned with the ways of the mice. Their behaviour's not good and their manners not nice. So when she's got them lined up on the matting, she teaches them music, crocheting and tatting. I have a Gumbie cat in mind. Her name is Jenny Anydots. Her equal would be hard to find. She likes the warm and sunny spots. All day she sits beside the hearth or in the sun or on my hat. She sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes her a Gumbie cat. But when the day's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumbie cat's work is but hardly begun. As she finds that the mice will not ever keep quiet, she is sure it is due to irregular diet, and believing that nothing is done without trying, she sets straight to work with her baking and frying. She makes them a mouse cake of bread and dried peas, and a beautiful fry of lean bacon and cheese. So she's very kind to these mice. There we go. I have a Gumbie cat in mind. Her name is Jenny Anydots. The curtain cord she likes to wind and tie it into sailor knots. She sits upon the windowsill or anything that's smooth and flat. She sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes her a Gumbie cat. But when the day's hustle and bustle is done, then the Gumbie cat's work is but hardly begun. She thinks that the cockroaches just need employment to prevent them from idle and wanton destroyment. So she's formed from that lot of disorderly louts a troop of well-disciplined, helpful Boy Scouts, with a purpose in life and a good deed to do, and she's even created a beetle's tattoo, a bit like the military tattoo in Edinburgh. So for old Gumbie cats, let us now give 3 cheers, on whom well-ordered households depend, it appears. And the next one is called Growltiger's Last Stand. I'll give you the picture to have a little look at first. So there's Growltiger. Growltiger was a bravo cat who travelled on a barge. In fact, he was the roughest cat that ever roamed at large. From Gravesend up to Oxford he pursued his evil aims, rejoicing in his title of the Terror of the Thames. The Thames is the river that runs through London. His manners and appearance did not calculate to please. His coat was torn and seedy, he was baggy at the knees. One ear was somewhat missing, no need to tell you why, and he scowled upon a hostile world from one forbidding eye. The cottagers of Rotherhithe knew something of his fame. At Hammersmith and Putney people shuddered at his name. I used to live in Hammersmith in London. They would fortify the hen-house, lock up the silly goose, when the rumour ran along the shore, Growltiger's on the loose. Woe to the weak canary that fluttered from its cage. Woe to the pampered Pekingese that faced Growltiger's rage. Woe to the bristly bandicoot that lurks on foreign ships. And woe to any cat with whom Growltiger came to grips. There's another little picture of that menacing cat, Growltiger. But most to cats of foreign race his hatred has been vowed. To cats of foreign name and race no quarter was allowed. The Persian and the Siamese regarded him with fear, because it was a Siamese had mauled his missing ear. Now on a peaceful summer night all nature seemed at play. The tender moon was shining bright, the barge at Moseley lay. All in the balmy moonlight it lay rocking on the tide, and Growltiger was disposed to show his sentimental side. His bucko mate, Grumbuskin, long since had disappeared, for to the Bell at Hampton he had gone to wet his beard, and his bosun Tumble Brutus he too had stolen away. In the yard behind the lion he was prowling for his prey. In the forepeak of the vessel, Growltiger sate alone, concentrating his attention on the Lady Griddlebone. And as raffish crew were sleeping in their barrels and their bunks, as the Siamese came creeping in their sampans and their junks, Growltiger had no eye or ear for aught but Griddlebone, and the lady seemed enraptured by his manly baritone. They were very much in love, disposed to relaxation, and awaiting no surprise, but the moonlight shone reflected from 100 bright blue eyes. And closer still the sampan circled round, and yet from all the enemy there was not heard a sound. The lovers sang their last duet, in danger of their lives, for the foe was armed with toasting forks and cruel carving knives. Then Gilbert gave the signal to his fierce Mongolian horde. With a frightful burst of fireworks, the Chinks they swam aboard. Abandoning their sampans and the pullaways and junks, they battened down the hatches on the crew within their bunks. Then Griddlebone, she gave a screech, for she was badly scared. I'm sorry to admit it, but she quickly disappeared. She probably escaped with ease, but I'm sure she was not drowned. But a serried ring of flashing steel Growltiger did surround. The ruthless foe pressed forward in stubborn rank on rank. Growltiger, to his vast surprise, was forced to walk the plank. He, who 100 victims had driven to that drop, at the end of all his crimes, was forced to go kerflip, kerflop. Oh, there was joy in Wapping when the news flew through the land. At Maidenhead and Henley there was dancing on the Strand. Rats were roasted whole at Brentford and at Victoria Dock, and a day of celebration was commanded in Bangkok. So that was the end of Growltiger. The final one today is called the Rum Tum Tugger. You might know some songs about these. The Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat. If you offer him pheasant, he would rather have grouse. If you put him in a house, he would much prefer a flat. If you put him in a flat, then he'd rather have a house. If you set him on a mouse, then he only wants a rat. If you set him on a rat, then he'd rather chase a mouse. Yes, the Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat, and there isn't any call for me to shout it, for he will do as he do, and there's no doing anything about it. The Rum Tum Tugger is a terrible bore. When you let him in, he wants to be out. He's always on the wrong side of every door, and as soon as he's at home, then he'd like to get about. He likes to lie in the bureau drawer, but he makes such a fuss if he can't get out. Yes, the Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat, and it isn't any use for you to doubt it, for he will do as he do, and there's no doing anything about it. The Rum Tum Tugger is a curious beast. His disobliging ways are a matter of habit. If you offer him fish, then he always wants a feast. When there isn't any fish, then he won't eat rabbit. If you offer him cream, then he sniffs and sneers, for he only likes what he finds for himself. So you'll catch him in it right up to the ears if you put it away on the larder shelf. The Rum Tum Tugger is artful and knowing. The Rum Tum Tugger doesn't care for a cuddle, but he'll leap on your lap in the middle of your sewing, for there's nothing he enjoys like a horrible muddle. Yes, the Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat, and there isn't any need for me to spout it, for he will do as he do, and there's no doing anything about it. And that takes us to the next poem, which we will read tomorrow. It's called The Song of the Jellicles, about lots and lots of